Bees can't do geometry. No measuring tools, no protractors, a brain smaller than a grain of rice. And yet somehow they build this. Thousands of identical six-sided cells, snapped together with zero gaps, in perfect rows. Except they don't. Not really. What a bee actually builds isn't a hexagon at all. It's a circle. And something else, something you can't see happening, turns that circle into a hexagon without a single bee ever measuring an angle. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand a shape you've seen 1,000 times and never actually understood. And it's the same shape that's currently holding satellites together in orbit. Before we get to the trick, you need to know what bees are actually working with. Because it's stranger than wax from flowers. Bees make this material inside their own bodies. Young worker bees carry 8 wax glands under their abdomen, and each one sweats out a flake no bigger than a grain of salt. Here's the catch. Making that wax is brutally expensive. 1 pound of wax costs a colony almost 8 pounds of honey, so nothing gets wasted. A bee scrapes off the flake, chews it with saliva and body heat until it's soft. And that's the raw material for everything that comes next. Thousands of bees pass this stuff mouth to mouth, building a wall of cells one flake at a time. But here's the question that stumped some of history's smartest minds for 2,000 years. Why does it end up as a hexagon? Circles seem like the obvious shape. They hold the most honey for the least wall. But pack circles together and you get gaps. Gaps mean wasted wax, and wax is expensive. Squares and triangles close the gaps, but they need more wall to hold the same amount of space. More wall, more wax, more work. A hexagon is the only shape that does both at once. 0 gaps and the least total wall length possible. It took over 2,000 years and 3 separate breakthroughs to actually prove that from a Roman writer's hunch in 36 BC, to a partial proof in 1943, to a full mathematical proof that didn't land until 1999. Darwin himself called this one of nature's most perfect examples of economy. But here's the twist nobody expects. Bees never solved that math problem. They didn't need to. In 2013, a team led by engineer Bhushan Karihalu at Cardiff University smoked bees away from a comb mid-build to see what was really underneath. And what they found broke the whole assumption. The newest cells weren't hexagons. They were circles. Perfect little circles. Only the older cells, farther from the bees still working, had already flattened into 6-sided shapes. So how does a circle turn into a hexagon with nobody measuring anything? The hive runs close to 45 degrees Celsius, hot enough that fresh wax softens and starts to flow like a thick liquid. Once it's flowing, surface tension takes over. It's the exact same force that flattens the walls between soap bubbles. Every time 2 soft circles touch, the shared wall flattens. Do that at 6 points around one cell, and in seconds, a circle reshapes itself into a hexagon, with 0 input from the bee. The bees don't build hexagons. Physics finishes the job for them. But that's not even the last surprise this shape is hiding. Look closely at any honeycomb, and you'll notice every cell tilts upward, about 13 degrees. Beekeepers have repeated the same explanation for generations. It stops the honey from spilling out. In 2021, researchers actually put that to the test. They hung finished honeycombs upside down inside a hive. The honey stayed exactly where it was. It turns out the tilt has nothing to do with spilling. Surface chemistry keeps the honey in place regardless. The real reason for the tilt is structural. It shifts some of the honey's weight onto the neighboring wall, letting the whole comb carry more weight before it buckles. A detail everyone thought they understood, and it wasn't even close. And the story isn't fully settled either. Some researchers still argue bees aren't just passive. that they're actively pressing and shaping each wall with their own bodies, not just letting wax melt into place. That debate is still open right now. What isn't up for debate is how far this shape traveled. Engineers copied it directly. Aluminum honeycomb panels cushioned the Apollo spacecraft, and that same structure is in satellite panels and aircraft wings today, because nothing else is that strong for that little weight. A shape bees stumbled into through heat and wax is quite literally holding things together in orbit right now. So go back to that first shot, the one that looked impossible. It still is impossible, just not for the reason you thought. No bee measured a single angle. What you're actually looking at is biology, heat, and physics finishing each other's sentences, with no blueprint and no bee smart enough to draw one. If this is the kind of hidden mechanism you didn't know you needed to know about, subscribe, because we dig one of these up every single week on Unknown Behind Known Things. Now I want to hear from you. What everyday object should we crack open next? Drop it below. I read every one. See you in the next video.